Do you know that your local water company is dumping SHIT into your local river? I'm going to run the full battery of tests. 2 days later, it turns out I began a journey which led to a prognosis of prostate cancer. Welcome to the world of fly fishing.
Good to be here.
I'm going to lift this rod up
Yep.
to 12 o'clock.
Okay.
And I'm going to go 1,000.
Okay.
I'm going to wait 2,000.
Okay.
And that's it. So watch. I'm going to go 1,000, 2,000.
Okay. Right. Yep.
Now gently lift it up and accelerate and into a stop like you're hitting a hammer. 1,000.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
good.
Oh. Kind of.
Dude, listen, hang on.
Woo! Is that rated out of 10?
For somebody that's done that in the last 3.5 seconds.
Thank you. So you've been doing this for more than 50 years. So you started this when you
You're
were...
just trying to play my middle-aged insecurities.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I
I am
would
that
never do
old.
such a thing.
I am that old.
Experienced, I think is the word.
I went to this quite extraordinary school. Bear in mind this was Derry in Northern Ireland. School called the Christian Brothers. They had a very simple ethos that while you were there, you would have no spare time. And it was required of us that we would all sign up for at least 6 after-school clubs.
And
societies.
how old are you at this point?
I'm 10, 11 years
10,
old.
11. Okay, yep.
Rather stupidly, as it turned out, I ticked a box marked hurling. And as I explained it to people, I wasn't born with this nose. It's been finely sculpted at the end of 3 feet of ash called a hurling stick. Another box marked the debating society. And another box, which I knew nothing about, called fly tying. And one marked called fly fishing. And here I am, 55 years later. It was somebody in the EA in a random conversation one day went, Feargal, I'm only going to say one word and we're never going to have this conversation again. Sewage. And they walked away.
Wow.
And I went and had a quick scratch and then I suddenly thought, bingo, now I've got it. Because now I can go call up any journalist in the country, go on any programme, radio, TV, newspaper and simply go, do you know that your local water company is dumping SHIT into your local river? And without exception, everybody just goes, what the hell did you just say? Bingo, you've now got people's attentions.
Yeah. Governments obviously play a key role in this, as do regulators. 10 months ago, Labour came into power.
Yeah.
How do you feel about what they've achieved so far?
Well, let's face it, there's an awful lot of activity going on, or as I referred to last week, an awful lot of performative politics. There's an awful lot of people looking around, running around, getting busy, but actually nothing's changed. In fact, last year, 2024, well, there was more sewage dumped into rivers than ever before. So in terms of actually dealing with the issue, little if anything has changed. And I think an awful lot of people, particularly in the environmental world, and you know this already, there are people you and I speak to are already using the word betrayal. And those people do feel that they have been betrayed. And perhaps they have. I have said it before, I've had this remarkable life where I've got to travel all over the world, go to weird, interesting places, and random people would just come up and be incredibly nice and want to talk about music and gigs and stuff. How brilliant is that? The downside is over the last 4 or 5 years, people now want to talk to me about shite and rubbish. So here's the thing, I'm quite happy, can we fix this as quickly as possible?
Yeah.
Because I'd quite like to go back to be talking about music and nice things again, as opposed to other people's poo.
You obviously have this fighting spirit, and I'd love to know what your parents' influence on that has been.
I do blame the parents. My dad was former chairman of the Labour Party in Derry when there was such a thing, former branch secretary of his local union. My mum, massively involved in culture. She was the secretary and organiser of the big cultural festival locally, known as Feast Kill, and hugely involved in the civil rights movement.
I imagine you must have had some interesting dinner guests around the house.
Yes, some nights my house would be full of people, plumber, electrician, housewives, teachers, unemployed, discussing how to bring down the government in Northern Ireland. And I'm 10 years old, thinking, well, you can do anything then. If you want to bring down the government, just bring down the government. So looking back on it, yeah, it's very Freudian, but I can point the finger at my parents and go, well, I blame you guys.
So kneecap,
Yeah.
the ban. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, here's the thing. There is clearly a situation developing in the Middle East. Clearly, Ireland instinctively has always been incredibly leaning towards Palestine. Last year was the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. Whoever thought? So peace is attainable. But what is going on right now with Netanyahu and his government, it is now bordering on genocide and is now committing acts of war. The brutality has to stop. Did NECAP put that back on the front page again? Big round of applause to NECAP, because we need to do that tomorrow and the day after it, and we need to keep talking about this until the international community stands up and starts taking responsibility, because I do not want the blood of either Jewish children or Palestinian kids on my hands in a country that I live in, haven't played any part in it whatsoever. So I'm afraid, Mr. Starmer, it's time to stand up and be counted, my friend.
I know you've had a bout of health.
I'm very happy to talk about it. About a year and a half ago, I randomly went to see my GP with a sore throat. Now, I've known him long enough that he goes, no, you're that bloke used to sing, so if you're telling me you've got a sore throat, there's something going on. So my doctor, being the beautiful, wonderful, awkward, cantankerous old man that he is, went, oh, Feargal, by the way, you're 65 now. I'm going to run the full battery of tests. 2 days later, turns out I began a journey which led to a prognosis of prostate cancer. Thankfully, that's all now been resolved a year ago. But here we are. Had it not been for that random visit to my local GP, I would have never have known that I was at that point carrying prostate cancer. And if it had not been seen to, it could have been a very different ending and a very different outcome to my life. So the reason I'm very happy to talk about it, if there's one man out there right now over the age of 45, go and see your GP, go and get the blood test done.
And finally, Feargal, a good shampoo these days are hard to find. So I'd love to know, and I'm sure the burning question that our readers might have is, how do you keep your hair as luscious as you do?
It's thanks to pure genetics, and you see, I'm now lapsing back. I'm now 25, being interviewed by Smash Hits, because that was the kind of question that Jackie magazine would ask. Funny enough, I've used Head and Shoulders for the last 50 years of my life. And by the way, I don't have dandruff, and I never did. But other than that, it just helps being a male member of the Sharkey family, because we're all tall, skinny, we all live until we're 100, and we all have lots of hair.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Feargal.
You're more than welcome.
Thanks
Place
for
is all
chatting to
mine.
us. Thank you. What an extraordinary afternoon on the banks of the River Lee, fishing with Feargal, a man who truly opened his heart and dived into a range of issues, from water to politics, music, his health, and really what we all wanted to know, what shampoo he uses. Feargal, I'll be back. Fly fishing may just be my new thing.